Hi, my name is Delmarshae Walker. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing great today. I want to share with you a story about my past. I spoke to you previously, about my relationship with my son's father. And I kind of went over some of the things that happened between us. He was physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive. This is kind of like towards the end, and actually the end of our relationship. Um, Throughout our relationship, he cheated on me. He cheated with different people. And this particular time, it's like I was like over it. He had cheated with this girl, and actually got her pregnant. They had a child together while me and him was still in a relationship, living together and everything. So when we finally broke up and our relationship was like over, I no longer stayed with him. I had my own apartment and everything. And I was the one that ended the relationship. So as time went on, because like I was still like in that environment, kind of around the same people that I was around when I was with him. So, it's kind of like a street code, an unwritten code that you're not supposed to mess with your ex homeboys, things like that. So I didn't talk to any of the guys that he hung out with, any of his homeboys, or anyone that was like in that, hung out in the same hood or whatever. But I started talking, well, before I get into it, I know some people use the word, oh, we're just talking, and they actually mean they're having sex and they're doing, sexual things or whatever. And they say, oh, we're just talking, but they're doing everything but talking. When I say I'm just talking to someone or we was just talking, that's exactly what I mean. There is no physical contact, just having conversation, just like I'm having with you now, just a regular conversation. So I had met a guy and we started talking, and he was in the same business as my ex. They knew each other, they knew of each other, they knew each other. They have hung out, but being in the same area, conducting business, whatever, at the same time. But there wasn't like homeboys. I wasn't like breaking any rules or anything. So, and like he knew, they, like I said, they knew of each other. So one time me and this guy was standing out, just talking, and my ex came by. He drove by, he parked the car, stopped, and he came over there and just was like just talking to us like, no big deal, having a regular conversation. So I felt kind of weird about that, but I didn't really say anything. So it got to the point where the guy was kind of feeling uncomfortable and he left. So he was like, are you, what, you like him? You talking to him? What's up with that? I'm like, well, I'm just talking to him. I'm trying to see, what's up. I don't know. And I'm like, why do you care? We're not together. You're in another relationship with somebody. He's like, oh, it's not like that. I just don't want you talking to him. I'm like, well, why not? What's wrong with him? He's like, there's nothing wrong with him. I just don't want you talking with him. So he said that he left, hopped in his car, and left. So I'm standing out there like confused because I'm thinking to myself, like, why do you care? We're not together anymore. So then time went by, me and this guy was out there talking again. Same thing. He happened to be in the area. He came over, started talking to us. Then next thing I know, the guy left, and so just me and him standing there. So now I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's blocking. I'm like, okay, what's up with this? You saying you don't care, but every time you see me and him talking, you have to come up, and then that make him feel uncomfortable, and then he leave. He's like, I told you, I just don't want you talking to him. Being the type of person I am, like I could have just went off on him and be like, well, how dare you? The whole time me and you was together, you cheated on me, and just, just being one of those type of females. But I'm not like that. My personality is I will still listen to a person even if I don't necessarily agree with them, or I don't, it's just I'm listening to you to kind of see where you're coming from. And so even though he's telling me this in my head, I'm like, okay, it don't make any sense. Why do he care so much? Because I know he don't care about me. So I'm like, well, what? Do he have a girlfriend or something that I don't know about? He's like, no, it's not that. So then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, is he gay? And he's like, no, he's not gay. He's like, he's a cool dude. I just don't want you talking to him. I'm like, well, he's not your friends. Y'all not homeboys. So why do it matter? He's like, look, you could talk to anybody you want to. He said, if you wanted to talk to one of my homeboys, I wouldn't even care. You could talk to him. He's like, it's not even about that. I'm not trying to stop you from living your life, having fun or whatever. I just don't want you talking to him. So now that really just made me curious. So at this point, he went ahead and left. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, whatever direction I may or may not have went in with this guy, at this time, I'm like, at this point, I'm just nosy, I'm curious. So I already know that I'm not gonna try to pursue anything because he is so adamant that I didn't talk to him. But he never really told me exactly why he didn't want me to talk to this guy. But it was just in the back of my mind. Now it's like, okay, I need to talk to him to see if I could kind of get an understanding of why my ex don't want me to talk to him. But like I said, I was still listening to him, to my ex, and not being like one of those persons that's just running off at the mouth, like, you can't tell me what to do, we ain't in a relationship. That's just not my personality. So the third time he happened to see, me and the guy talked between these different incidents, but this is like the third time that my ex seen us talking. This time he was like just driving by in the car. He stopped. This time he didn't come over and start talking to us. He called the guy over to the car. And I don't know, whatever he said to him, I'm looking at the guy expressing, and he just started looking kind of upset and looking sad. And he just walked away. He didn't say bye to me. He didn't say anything. He just walked away. And so I'm waiting for my ex to come over to say something to me. He just looked at me and jumped in the car and left. So I'm like, well, damn. What just happened? What is really going on? After that, never seen the guy again. And then, like, well, when I did see him, it was like he just kept it moving. He was like, hey, and just keep it moving. So it's like we never like talked after that point or anything. So it's like, and then with my ex, I kept asking him, what happened, what you said, and he's like, oh, what, y'all still talking? I'm like, no, he won't even come over to me. He won't even he barely says hi. He's like, oh, no big deal. He was happy at this point. So it's like, well, damn, what's really going on? So because me and my ex has a child together, he was over to my apartment one time. So we're sitting there smoking and just talking and smoking. And in the middle of us talking, I just asked him, I said, okay, I don't see the guy. I don't know what's going on. I'm just curious, why were you so adamant that me and him did not have a conversation? Why would you just so adamant that you didn't want me to get with him? You didn't care who else I talked to, but this one particular person. So he's like, okay, I'll tell you. He's like, well, he told me the date, I forgot when it was, but it's like when he was locked up in county, he said dude had got locked up. I don't know how they do in jail now, but at that time, because this was like in the early 90s, the early to mid 90s, when he got locked up in county, at that time they was giving AIDS tests. So he said the dude had took an AIDS test, because everyone who went in had automatically take an AIDS test, an HIV test, should I say. And so he said, well, when dude went in, his test came back positive for HIV. And the jails talks, streets talks, whatever. So he knew dude was HIV positive, and he didn't know how far or if we would have even got into a relationship. He just didn't want me talking to him for that reason. And I'm like, well, thanks for looking out, because this is the same man. Like I said, he pointed a gun at me. He choked me. He gave me a black eye. He bust my lip. He cheated on me so many times with different women. He, it's like the things that he would say to me at some point in time. Like sometimes the mental abuse can be worse than the physical abuse. Everything this man put me through, I never would have thought that after our relationship ended, that he would care enough to not even want me talking to that guy. And I know you might be thinking, well, he didn't want you talking to that guy because he felt that he can, get back with you. Once our relationship was over, there was no more sleeping together, no more doing anything on that level. It was over. He was my ex. That was it. The last time we did anything, we were still in the relationship. Once that relationship ended, there was no going backwards. There was no getting with. There was no kissing, touching, none of that. It was just completely over. So him telling me that had nothing to do with him thinking, okay, I don't want you to get anything because I want to, circle back around, because it was, like I said, it was none of that. So it surprised me that he told me that. And it surprised me that, he cared enough to not want me to catch AIDS, because he was like, I just couldn't imagine you going through that. I didn't want that on you. And so I'm telling you this part of the story, especially, like I said, to my young women. Sometimes you have to have the mindset of, I'm going to shut up and listen. Because a lot of times, like I say, I keep hearing women always saying, men need to support, black men need to support black women, black men need to support black women. And sometimes men be telling women things and women don't want to listen for whatever reason. And I give you an example with the situation with Amber Rose when she was on Drink Champs or whatever that show is. And it was a guy on there that was talking to her. The information that he was giving her was valid information. The information that he was giving her was good information, but she just kept over talking him. It's like she didn't want him to get it out. And she was saying, oh, you're just jealous. Men are jealous of women. I never met a man that was jealous of a woman unless the guy was gay. And I'm not saying that for all gay guys, but why would a man, not a little boy, because little boys can be jealous of a woman, but why would a grown man be jealous of a woman? Because the only reason you're going to be jealous of a person is because you feel that person got something that you want. And I never met a man who wanted something that another woman had, because he's not going after what women have. He's a man, so he's going to go after things that men have and things that men want. And so just imagine if I would have had that mentality, because like I said, I was talking to the guy to try to get to know him. And I don't know if he would have, like, if our relationship would have went further, if he would have said to me, hey, I'm HIV positive. Or if he would just kept that to himself and been like, well, whatever happened, somebody got me. So if I get her, oh, well, he could have had that type of attitude. I don't know. But just imagine when my ex came to me, talking to me. This is my ex. The woman he's living with, the woman he's staying with, is the woman he cheated on me with and had a baby with while me and him was together. Suppose I'd have been like, well, just like I said, just running my mouth. Oh, you can't tell me nothing. How you going to tell? We're not in a relationship, yada, 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 and just been running off out that mouth. And then just say he been like, well, okay, then you found out the hard way. Oh, I'm trying to look out for you. I'm trying to have your back. I'm trying to, I know I done put you through hell in the past 7 years that me and you was together, but hey, this time, I'm just gonna try to help you out. But since you don't want to listen to me, I'm gonna throw my hands up. I'm gonna leave you alone. You grown. Do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I could have ended up going down that road with the guy and catching AIDS, getting HIV. or catching HIV and then getting full-blown AIDS. And I might not even be here today if that would have happened. So sometimes you have to be mindful of knowing when to shut up and listen to advice if it's good advice. If someone is giving you advice and it's horrible advice, of course you're not going to listen to it. But sometimes people feel like who the information is coming from make it less valid. You know what I'm saying? Like, just say our relationship was great and it ended on a good note, and he came to me and said, hey, I don't want you talking to him. Oh, some women be like, oh, okay, he was always nice to me, he was always good to me, so I'm gonna listen to him. But oh, he was horrible, he was this, he was that. It's like this person is adamant that I did not talk to him, to this one guy. And that made me curious enough, because like I said, I wasn't running, I was talking back to him because that's how our relationship was. We're going back and back verbally, but I wasn't like, ah, it was like more like, well, why? Tell me why. Tell me more. You're not telling me everything. But he was like, just listen to me. You talk to anybody you want to out here. You know, he's pointing at his homeboy. If you want to talk to him, you can talk to him. You want to talk to him, you talk to him. Just don't talk to dude. And he's telling me dude is a good dude. He just don't want me talking to him. So that the way he's the information he's telling me, because I'm listening, made me curious enough to say, okay, let me pump the brakes. I want to find out what's really going on with him. And so, even though, like I said, the last time he still didn't tell me what he said to the guy to make the guy just not want to talk to me at all. But whatever he said to him, the guy just stayed away from me and was just, hey, keep it and just keep moving. But like I said, I'm grateful for that, because in a way he could have saved my life. The same man that could have taken my life, like I told you in a previous video when he was choking me, same man that could have taken my life could have saved my life at the same time. So you have to listen to information when it's good information, and don't always be so, quick to say, well, I'm not going to listen to this information because of who it's coming from. God can use anybody. And so you don't know who God is going to use to give you some information that may save your life. You don't know what information or how, because you got to think about this. When you look at the Bible, right? God put Moses in the house of the man that wanted him dead. And you might say, well, wait, I don't remember that. The Pharaoh ordered that all the young boys of a certain age be killed. Moses' mother had to hide him in order for him to not be killed. Once he got a certain age and he was getting too big to hide, Moses' mother told his sister to put him in the basket, send him down the Nile, and they followed him. The same man who ordered all those babies to get killed, including Moses, so even though he didn't know Moses, he did put a hit out on Moses. So the same man who put a hit out on Moses is the same man who took care of him, the same man who raised him, and the same man who educated him. So you don't know how your life is going to end up going, the people that's going to come in your life and out of your life, the lessons that you're going to learn from the people that you maybe least expected to learn a lesson from. The same person, like I said, the same man that gave me hell for 7 years is the same man that could have possibly saved my life. And I know that was through God. Because this man didn't owe me anything. I didn't owe him anything to listen to him, and he didn't owe me anything to come tell me our relationship was over with when he came and told me that. And like I say, it wasn't even though we're still touching bases here and there. It was completely over with when we had that conversation. He's in a relationship with another woman. He's dealing with her. They done had about, kids. After the first baby, they done had another baby together. He's fully in that relationship. I don't know what he's doing on the side, but he's fully in that relationship. They live together and all that. But at the same time, like I said, him seeing me, he didn't have to stop. He was on his way to wherever. he stopped, came over and started talking, and then told me, I don't want you talking to him. But because I listened, it's not just about him telling me this, because I was willing to listen to him with an open mind and an open heart, in spite of everything that me and him been through. So that's basically all I want to say. As women, don't be so quick to, oh, you can't tell me that, da, 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 da. Sometimes you just need to listen to the information that's given to you, and then process that information, and then do what you want based on all the information you're getting, everything you're putting together. And that's it. And that's why I say that that lifestyle, that can happen to anyone, but that's why I say that lifestyle, that street life, is not as glamorous as people make it out to be. It's not as, you know, it's it's portrayed, especially when it comes to music. It's portrayed in a certain way, and it's not as great as it you think it is. I would never, I have no desire to ever go back to that type of lifestyle. And it's not, it's not fun. It was a learning experience for me. I did learn a lot from that time. But as far as going back and being in that situation, everything like that, I would not. And so I just wanted to tell you that. Hope you have a great day. Peace.